okay?
Hey, what's going on, my good people? Yeah, we back at it. Because as y'all know, there's some updated information regarding the case of Zack Stoner, aka ZackTv. Now, if you've been following me for a minute, you know I covered that case. I did a whole series on Zack, and we broke down a lot of details. And now we have police reports, and I got some stuff to show y'all. Again, y'all know how we do. We break down the details. Let me point out a few things. Ride with me. Now, when this story first broke, what we found out was that Zack had been at a nightclub prior to being killed. And we found out the group he was with at that nightclub. And we found out that he was there to, I guess, promote. He had promoted this event. And we couldn't understand exactly what happened because right after leaving the nightclub, he was killed. And we just didn't understand what had happened. But now, like I said, we have the reports. And I want to read to y'all a section that, to me, explains what happened. Pay attention. The police conducted an interview with a guy that was in the car with Zack when all this went down. And this is what he had to say. Now, there's a lot of blanked out stuff in it, okay? But I'm going to summarize it for you. But I'm sure you can see it on the screen so you can read it for yourself. But this guy in particular that's being interviewed, he said that he didn't really want to go to the concert, but he went anyway because he wanted to support his friend. And he said at first, look, the concert was going smooth. They chilling. Now, at this point, we know he's talking about T Streets and I believe it was like AMG Fresh or something like that. We know he's speaking about them. So while T Streets and them was on stage, they made a comment about a Chicago neighborhood. And so I took that to mean they made a comment about a gang. And there were some guys in that concert affiliated with this particular gang that was mentioned. And they got mad. They was pissed. So those guys performed after T Streets and them. And then somebody from T Streets group went back on stage and mentioned, he wanted to tell his girlfriend happy birthday. And so the guys got back on stage. They talking about, F that beat, so they mad. So now they beefing, okay? So this guy that's being interviewed, he said that he started to walk back to his vehicle, which was parked by Subway. And if you've seen my other videos that I did on Zack, we broke down the whole situation about Subway, okay? So this guy was parked by Subway. And he said that Zack kept insisting that everybody get into Zack's car. He said that he had a real bad feeling about this. And he said he got chills. And he described Zack as sounding worried, very serious. Okay? So they left and they did what Zack asked them to do. And that was hop in the car with him. Okay? Now, it sounds like Zack is trying to protect them. That's what it sounded like to me. He thought he was doing them a favor by having them ride with him. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I never felt that Zack was the intended target. And so when we put T Street's name out there and this, that, and the other, a lot of people was mad at us for doing so. But now, after listening to the details, I'm still convinced that Zack was not the intended target. Zack was trying to save them. He was there with T Streets in them, okay? And he left with them. Now, the guy that's being interviewed said that he went to his vehicle, which was a Chevrolet Impala, and he retrieved a handgun. And I was like, well, wait a minute, because he just told us that his car was parked by Subway. So what? Zack drove him to his car, and all he did was got his gun and jump back in the car with Zack? I mean, it sounded like he was with the shits. You understand what I'm saying? But let's continue. But he said he felt like he needed to do that so he can protect himself and his friends. But I'm thinking, like, why not just leave? But hey, he gets back in Zack's car, and he said there was other people in there, And while they were sitting there, they were approached by a silver minivan. And then he said everything just happened in slow motion. And next thing you know, bullets are flying. This guy actually got hit 4 times or grazed 4 times in the right armpit, right hip, and left shoulder. He said that he ducked down in his seat, removed his handgun from his pants, and returned fire through the front windshield of Zack's car. Now, let's pause for a minute because when we seen the photos of Zack's car and we seen those bullet holes in the windshield, we assumed that somebody was shooting into the car from the front, like into the windshield. But now, what we're learning is that those um, bullet holes in the windshield came from somebody that was actually in the car with Zack. And this guy that's being interviewed shot out through the windshield. Now, understand this. Another thing that bothers me. Now, we don't know the position of these men that's shooting at Zack and them. But you got to wonder, if he's shooting out through the front windshield, does that mean that the car is in front of them, or the guys got out that minivan and was maybe moving around the car? Because when you think about all the times he was grazed from the right and the left. I mean, it was like they were ambushed. You understand what I'm saying? This is terrible. It's terrible. Now, when they examined Zack's body, he had multiple gunshot wounds. He had one to the outer side of his left shoulder, and that bullet exited the top of his left shoulder. Then he had a bullet wound to the left side of his head, just at the bottom of his ear. Now, I did a video and I got a lot of heat for it because what you could see in the video was like this flash coming up on the left side of the car after it crashed. And some people saw it, some people didn't. I saw it. I know what I saw. Now, I don't know if those are the bullets that killed Zack, but it was clear to me that somebody was approaching that vehicle from the left side and they were still firing shots. Now, I don't know if y'all remember the witness videos that I did. There was a witness by the name of Friedman, and he said that he saw 3 cars, kind of gathered together. And he said then he seen these people getting out the car like they was about to fight. And then all of a sudden he heard gunshots. Now, those 3 vehicles was pointed out in this police report. You had Zack's Jeep, you had a 4-door Chevrolet, and then you had a Chrysler Pacifica minivan. And that minivan is the car that the shooters were in. But I'm wondering if the Chevrolet belonged to the guy that was just interviewed. Because I know there was damage done to that car. There was damage done to Zack's car. Not sure about the minivan. I'm still going through the reports. But how about this? The shooters that was in the minivan, do y'all know that it was a rental? They rented that car from Hertz. And I was like, so y'all gonna do all this in the rental? I mean, it just didn't make sense to me, y'all. And I'm still asking questions. But I'm still going through these reports, and y'all know how I'm about to do. I'm about to break down these details. Because a lot of what we suspected is what's being pointed out in this police report. Again, now, we all know T Streets ended up losing his life on the day of Zack's funeral. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like I said before, I did not believe Zack was the intended target. And I know some people speculated that Zack was killed because of Kanika and this, that, and the other. But this proves that he wasn't. That his death had absolutely nothing to do with Kanika. And again, he wasn't the intended target. I believe T Streets was. And they caught up with him too. I feel like Zack lost his life trying to save them. So, y'all, let me finish going through all these reports because I got all of it. Let me finish going through it. Let me break down the details. I'm going to need y'all to stick with me, ride with me. I'll be back.